Happy people. Happy people, are you with me here live on Facebook? Welcome to my Facebook Live for today. As you know, I've committed to a daily Facebook Live. I said as long as people are here and want to hear what I have to say on motivation and disconnected on leadership, on empowerment, on faith, family, fitness, health, I said I'll continue to share. So I'm just going to share this briefly on my personal timeline. But I do have something to say today. I'm on my way to the airport shortly here, and I'll be away for a few days, but you better believe that I'm going to be on Facebook Live wherever I'm at the events that I'm going to. I'll be here. No, not yet. I'm doing a video. My mother-in-law's taking me to the airport soon, but yeah, it occurred to me. I want to talk about, because a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. A lot of people feeling anxious, not just about their goals. You know, I always talk about Maslow, the psychologist, and some of us, you know, we're just overwhelmed with life itself. Jermaine, I mean, for example, the Christian rapper Lecrae puts it into perspective. He says it's hard to dream when your water ain't clean. And, you know, we feel that in real life, just the struggles of life, the overwhelm, the anxiety of that. You know, how can I put my mind on being better and doing better and my health and my relationships, and when it seems like, you know, things are just chaotic and I'm overwhelmed, and after one thing it's another. In business they call it Murphy's Law. You know, what can go wrong oftentimes does go wrong. And I was reminded just in my personal reflection today of a story that I haven't told that many people. And it's a very private story of when I was younger. And my mom, she worked two jobs, like I said. She was a transcriptionist by day for cardiology at the hospital, and then at night she worked at a health clinic. So I remember being dropped off at daycare, this particular park and recreation, and it was swim day. So we were going over to, on the west side of Long Beach, we're going to this indoor pool, Silverado Park. Some people might know it. And I didn't know how to swim, right? A lot of people, a lot of black folks don't know how to swim. Swimming, I don't know, that's a whole nother video by itself. Maybe it's the hair thing, I don't know, but swimming, and that was something I want to change with my own children. We have a pool here. I want to make sure, I'll get into the lessons that I learned from this later, but I didn't know how to swim, and I'm sure this wasn't my first time going, but what happened was we got in our swim trunks. We all, you know, all the kids in the program, you know, came into the pool area, and here I was about 7 or 8 years old following my friends to the hinder part of the pool. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't notice the numbers and how deep the pool was. I was totally naive to this. And apparently I jumped in the 6 feet territory, 6 feet. At this time, I don't know, I'm probably 4 feet, you know, 4 feet or whatever. And I jump in and I paddle and nothing's happening. And I am literally, I'm drowning. All I see is blue water. The water's gushing through my nose. You know that feeling when you turn over upside down in a pool, and it's that brain feeling where the water just kind of gets in your nostrils. I hate it. Hate it to this day. I hate that feeling of water getting in my nose. The water consumed me. And I am 7 years old. I don't know anything about death, but there I felt like I was facing it. I don't know how long I was under there. Whether it was 30 seconds or 45 seconds, but all I know is that, you know, when people face these situations, they say life flashes before their eyes. I just remember thinking about my mom and thinking about my sister, and I was paddling for dear life. All I could see is legs around me, but no one near me, and just water gushing all over me and inside of me. And And then soon, something grabs me forcefully and pulls me out of the pool, and it was the lifeguard who had been looking, but apparently there was a lot of kids. This was too many seconds for me. But the lifeguard or someone, an adult figure, pulled me out of the pool, and I know they pushed on my chest, and I began to like cough up water, and I had almost drowned. That would have been it. You wouldn't have been able. I wouldn't have been here. Hear and play and all that stuff. That would have taken me out. My sister's here. She'll remember this story, although she was very young. But they didn't tell my mom. I don't know. This incident wasn't written up or anything like that, because when my mom picked me up, I didn't say anything about it. She didn't say anything about it. None of the staff said anything about it. But later that night, I'm a sleepwalker, right? So I like to walk in my sleep, especially as a kid. Oh man, we got some funny stories. I pee on the wall, all kinds of stuff. But this night, my mom looked over, or she heard a noise banging on the wall. She came into my room, and I was swimming up the wall. Erica, tell them, give them some details in the chat room. I'm swimming up the wall. I'm in my bed swimming up the wall. Like, I'm reacting this. I'm swimming up the wall. I don't know what I'm doing. My eyes are closed. I'm swimming up the wall. She wakes me up and she says, Jermaine, what's going on? What happened? And that's when I began to tell her I almost drowned. You know, mama. I'm like, you mean to tell me they didn't tell me about this? And I had given it away in my sleep. Sleeping, swimming up the wall. And I would later research this, because a lot of people drown in their sleep. Like, they have those kinds of dreams. And psychologists will tell you that it could be, if you believe this or not, it could be symbolic of just overwhelming anxiety. But I was actually reliving what had really happened and had transpired that day. Let me see who's in the house here. I see Erica is here. Now, this thing's not letting me see the chat room like it normally does. I see it on the bottom now. I don't know if they've changed things up. Sterling, I see you. Rudy, what's up? Rudy from the nutrition shop. Funny, Rudy saw me today, and I was a little down. I didn't do my workout. I had a 90-minute trip to Santa Monica, 90-minute trip back, and I just didn't have the same energy. And he called me out. He said, man, I want that pumped up Jermaine. And that just goes to show you that when you're positive, when you are energetic and upbeat, people associate that with you. That becomes your brand. And everybody has a brand, by the way. A brand isn't something you build. A brand is just something you are. I know it's a corporate word and a social media word, but your brand is you. It's how you show up. It's how you appear. And people will associate positivity, energy. People will also associate the opposites. If you're the grouchy one, you're the one that's always down and you take energy away, people will associate you with that. Now, sometimes as a positive person, it's hard to keep that up all the time, you know, but I'd rather be held to that standard than the opposite. So thank you, Rudy. I came in. I did some breath scaling. I'm going on a tangent here, off topic, but I'll be back to the drowning. Don't worry. But I came in the house, did some breath scaling, and this is a tip. Whenever you need a little bit more energy, breathe from your diaphragm, right? But start slowly. I learned this from my buddy Brendan. And make sure your stomach goes out when you breathe in, into your nose, and then breathe out. And start slow. But then as you progress, build an intensity. So when the water's, not the water, I'm getting the drowning and the breath scaling mixed up. So when the air comes into your nose, make it more violent and then really start blowing it out. And then until you, and be careful, you might get a little dizzy, and then bring it back down. I'm telling you, when you're done with that, you will feel energy. So Rudy, does this feel a little different to you? You know, because you don't have energy. You got to generate energy. I really believe that. Passions for life, you got to generate them. It's not always going to be there. You're not always going to wake up happy. You're not always going to wake up positive. But if you can generate it and you can perform on demand and, you know, whatever it takes, like Kobe. When Kobe's on that line and he needs to make that clutch shot, he's trained himself to perform when he needs to. So we don't have it. We just got to generate it. Patrick, welcome. Najee, welcome. Arthur, welcome. Let's see what my sister's saying. You thought about me. I love you too. This is the truth. He told on himself in his dream. Bob, I see you. Voight, Andrew, Lorenzo, Uncle Lorenzo, thank you all for being on. So I continue the story. So I almost drowned at this part. They didn't tell my mom. Later that night, I'm dreaming about the incident. I'm swimming up my wall. And that was the only way that my mom knew that I had almost drowned. Life just gone, just like that. And I want to use that story as symbology for what I want to talk about today. Because in life, you know, all of us at times, we get overwhelmed and we get so anxious, and, you know, life is coming at you and we feel like we're literally drowning. And all I could do in that water was move my arms and try to stay afloat. And that's what life feels like. You know, we're fighting the water. You hear the terminology, we're trying to keep our head above water. And that's what it feels like. But I want to encourage someone today. I feel like someone needs encouragement that is in this position. Maybe not physically you're drowning, but you feel emotionally, you're just overwhelmed. And it seems one problem after the other. I'm reminded of a story in the Bible of Job. And it seems like bad news just came one after the other. It's like if it wasn't his kids, then it was his wealth. And one kid after the other, God took away. And it was just like one storm after the other, and it never stopped. And sometimes you feel like this is it, you know, figuratively at least. And that's what I felt like. I felt like I just had a few more seconds left, and this was going to be it. But just when I needed it, there's a scripture, or there's a saying, he may not come when you want him. Any church folks here? But he'll be there right on time. That's what I felt like as an 8-year-old. And I didn't have self-reflection then to really take this in deeply. I would write about this scenario later in life and really understand the magnitude of that situation and how serious that was for me. And that would inform me well into the future. I mean, my own kids. We have a pool here. The first thing I did wasn't all the normal stuff you do in a new home. I got that pool fence up. God said, don't be foolish, right? I got that pool fence up. Another thing I did with my own kids is my daughter Jaden. At 3, she got swim lessons, put her on the swim team by 5. You know, she swims like a fish. Repeated the same process with my other 2 kids. So preparation makes a big deal as well. Now, if I had been prepared and cognizant, a little bit more cognizant, I wouldn't have jumped in. But sometimes, hey, life is such that what brought us here, we can't ask any questions in that moment. We just got to survive. And we got to do what we got to do. And if you find yourself drowning in a situation, you know, the first thing you got to do is you got to fight. You got to fight. You got to give it your all in that situation. Move your arms. And sometimes, you know, a lot of parents teach their kids how to swim by throwing them in the pool. Now, the difference is it's under supervision. And you know what? A lot of people in that situation learn how to swim. A lot of people in that situation just learn how to swim. When you have to do something, you figure out you've got some talents and some skills and some abilities that you pull intrinsically from you, and you just make it happen. I believe there's 3 types of people: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, those that are wondering what just happened. Now, not everybody in that situation, in that pool, figures it out. I wasn't that guy. I flapped my arms, and the more I flapped, the more I fell to the bottom of the pool. It didn't work for me that way. Other people, as you are trying your best to stay afloat, as you are trying your best to get back on top of water, people will have compassion for you. Now, when you're not trying, that's one thing. But when you are trying, you know, what's that movie? If I gotta die, I'm gonna die trying. When you are trying, people will have compassion for you. What people don't like is somebody who plays the victim, you know. And so when you're trying, you know, I don't know if that lifeguard would have seen me sooner, but surely my arms all over the place, I was attracting attention, and the attention that I needed right at the right time to get that helping hand. Another thing, sometimes you'll see people around you Some of them are drowning too, so it's hard. It's very hard, and some of them aren't cognizant of the fact that you are drowning, and that speaks to pride. A lot of us are so prideful that we're not honest with our situations, with the people around us. And do you know that your resources, when you're drowning, look around for your resources. Look around for the edge. You know the little ladders that go in the pool? Look around and see if you can get to some safe zone as soon as possible. There are resources available to you. There are resources in people. There's resources in God, having faith in God, and knowing that sometimes all things don't work out. You know, if that was going to be my last breath, I'm pretty sure there would have been a purpose in that. And that's why I shared the serenity prayer. God, give me the serenity to accept what I can't change. Right? But, and the wisdom to know the difference. Or what's the middle one? I'm missing the middle one. Somebody help me out with that. The serenity to accept what I cannot change. The blank to do what I can change. I'm missing the word. And the wisdom to know the difference. What is it? Erica said he taught me how to swim a few years later. Did I? I taught you how to swim? I don't remember that. But I did know I became a swimmer after that. Right? So I just want to be of encouragement to you. I don't have any deep concepts today. But what I do have is that I know a lot of people, you know, life gets hard, and sometimes you feel like you are drowning. And here's another point. It just came to me. In my sleep, how I was able to reveal what happened to me. You know how we all do that? We lash out too. A lot of the times when we're overwhelmed and big life obstacles hit us, maybe you don't sleepwalk like I did and swim up your wall, you know, alerting your mom at some problem. But we do that. We lash out in distancing ourselves from other people. We lash out by becoming problematic with the people that matter most to us, going into a shell, disconnecting ourselves from people. We lash out in many ways. And but you know, when you're going through hard times, first you got to realize, and I'll leave you with this. First you got to realize how powerful you are, and that evidenced by the fact that you are here right now means that you've never failed to survive. Remember that. Evidence by the fact that you are here right now today means that you've never failed to survive. And you know that where you are here, this ain't the first time you felt overwhelmed. This ain't the first time you felt like you're drowning. This ain't the first time you've been in the middle of the pool seemingly with no resources and no help. This ain't the first time that it's happened. And you just got to remember that the last time you felt this way, the last time you were in this situation, you didn't fail to survive. You didn't fail to progress through it. You didn't fail to get through it because you are here. I saw that movie Antoine Fisher. Remember that one? The Navy guy, or he was in the military with Denzel, and he says, "I'm standing. I'm still here." That was one of the big lines of that movie. I came by to tell you that you're standing and you are still here. And many of us, we've been in some situations that would have knocked other people out, you know? People thrown in the same pool, the same situation, but you made it. You are here. So realize your strength, realize your tenacity, realize your ability to figure it out, and you will, right? And your faith in God, right? God said, casting all your cares upon me, right? But while you do that, you still got to act. Remember Abel when I was on the top of the mountain? And I'll let you go with this because I have to get to my flight as well. But Abel, I said, first you have to acknowledge the situation. I'm drowning, whatever that is, drowning in debt, drowning in emotional pain, overwhelm, drowning in relationship issues, drowning in health issues and complexities, whatever it is. The A in Abel is acknowledging. The B in Abel is believing, right? Believing that you'll be here another day to figure this out. Believing that there is light at the end of this tunnel, and that where I am right now does not dictate where I can be. Other people's opinions of me does not dictate where I can be. The complexity, the depth of this situation I'm in, although when we're drowning, when we feel that way, it seems like this is it, this is the one. I'm not ever getting out of this one. You're here. You survived it before. You're here. All right, that's the B. You got to believe it. Everything starts with a belief. The belief is the seed that then leads to the behavior, the choices, the things that you then do. The L is learning, right? And learning, like I said, figuring out what you need to not only solve the problem for yourself, because sometimes you don't know the solution, but to start moving in that right direction, right? It doesn't mean that could be my destination over there. I could have no idea how to get there and all the things involved with it, but I do know that it's a step in that direction, and it's not a step in that direction. And as long as you're moving in the right direction, you have confidence over time that you can figure it out. So learn, exposure, resources, that's all under the L. And then E, execute. Execute. Flap those arms. Flap those feet. Get to that edge. You know? And that's what I want to share with you. Sterling says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage. That was the word I was missing. Courage. I've been having these brain moments lately. Courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Darius, I see you. Jason, I see you. Janelle, I see you. I think Layla will be in your class tomorrow. Amber, thanks again for the serenity prayer. Uncle Lorenzo, thank you. But yeah, that's what I want to leave with you, inspired by my own story of childhood difficulty. Know that you are powerful beyond measure, and you will figure it out. All right, happy people. Thank you for joining me today for just a small moment of inspiration. And I'll see you next time. The next time you'll hear from me, I'll be up north in Northern California. So please tune in, share this, like this, comment, and I'll see you next time. Take care.